Hi there, and welcome to another episode of this. Welcome to a new year and another series of maybe a whole 12 months of me talking about books I read. We'll do what we can. You know how it is. So in January of 2026, I read 2 books. The first, we're not going to talk about. We're just not going to talk about it because we only talk about things that make us happy here because the world is full of things to talk about that are terrible. Let's keep this place happy, right? So the first book, not talking about. The second book, we're definitely going to talk about. The second book is called The Haunted Looking Glass, Ghost Stories Chosen by Edward Gorey. Now, I don't like to work in assumptions. I can assume that you know who Edward Gorey is, but in case, those of us in the horror community know who Edward Gorey is through his illustrations. We know him from the book, mostly, it's his most famous piece, the book, The Ghastly Crumb Tidies. It's a book, an illustrated book. I don't know if it's a children's book. It's kind of dark, but it's also so simple that it has to be made for children. It's an ABC book, and the ABCs detail how all of these children died. And it's illustrated by Edward Gorey. Edward Gorey has a very distinctive kind of black ink and white paper aesthetic to him, but it's very scratchy, very, you know the cover from the Ghastly Crumb Tinies. You know that image of the children and standing over them holding that beautiful black gothic umbrella, death. You know Edward Gorey. And really weird piece of information about him. That man won a Tony Award for costume design when in 1977, when they sort of revamped on Broadway the play Dracula. He designed one or some of the costumes and won a Tony for it. That's awesome. But I like Edward Gorey's aesthetic. I really like that kind of pared down, scratchy kind of drawings that he does, because there's something in the sparseness of them. There's something creepy in it, and it's something I used to have books like this when I was a kid. Not Edward Gorey, but it's a common enough aesthetic that I've seen it, and it's something that has kind of burrowed into me. So I saw this book, grabbed it, and let me read to you. So he didn't write any of these stories, but he did contribute drawings. Like he did the cover. I put the cover up already, I'm sure. So the contributors of this, I don't think they themselves contributed. Some of these were certainly dead by the time this book came out. Is it going to tell me when it came out? No. I could look and spend forever doing this. The compilation 1959, which is weird because Edward Gorey lived until 2000, I think. So yeah, 1959. He did a lot of book covers. I know he did the book cover on a T.S. Eliot collection. You should look that up. Like, his works were awesome. So we have Algernon Blackwood, W.F. Harvey, Charles Dickens, L.P. Hartley, R.H. Malden, Robert Louis Stevenson, E. Nesbit, Bram Stoker. That Bram Stoker story is actually pretty good. Not that I like Bram Stoker. I like Dracula, but nothing against Bram Stoker. I don't know what I meant by that, except I was happy to read this story. Tom Hood, W.W. Jacobs, Wilkie Collins, and the GOAT himself, M.R. James. This is a collection of those old school ghost stories, haunted house stories, where deaths do happen, but there's nothing graphic or gory about them. It's one where people get such a fright that they faint and they have to be given brandy as a restorative so that they can go on living. It's very dramatic, and but there's also a lot of like folklore attached to it. Oh, the lore of the land is that on this house this happened 200 years ago and it's now haunted. As a horror reader, I cut my teeth on stories like this. I have a real big love for stories like this, and it was almost like cleaning the palate reading these. I I love stories like this, and I love collections like this. I have I have a lot of short story collections where you see the same stories over and over again. Over and over again. And I think there was only one in this one that I had seen before. So that's good. Yeah. So, yeah, I only had one book to talk about, but this is a really good one. And, I mean, there aren't a lot of Edward Gorey drawings. He drew one for each story. So, on the page announcing the next story, there's a little Edward Gorey sketch, and it's very nice. Very nice book to have sitting on my shelf. Very nice read. I wouldn't say it's a fast read. It's not a long book at all. And although these stories are all short, it's that kind of writing that's very dense, very fraught, very dramatic, very, you know, nobody sits on a couch, they fall onto it, that kind of thing. And I love it. I think it's funny. But the book is good. And there were some legitimately great moments in every one of these stories that I think I've become inspired myself. I have to start thinking about what my Halloween short story is going to be this year. And I think I may pull from these old gothic greats and write me a good creepy ghost story. Just maybe where nothing bad or graphic happens. It's just spooky. I think I might do that. I think I've been inspired early in the year, which is satisfying because usually I start writing the story for my Halloween short in mid to late July, and I usually don't have an idea fully formed until then, and it's stressful, and I don't know why I do that to myself. So having at least the seed this early in the year has been nice. So I think that's all I have to talk about this time. I'm going to be straight with you. I can't guarantee I'll have much to talk about February when March comes, because I hate the month of February. Like I said, I know January feels like it lasts about 4 years and it takes forever to get through it. And then we have the short month of February, but in my personal life, there's a lot of things that are always slated for February. I hate February. I hate it so much. I don't really feel renewed for the new year until March. So hopefully the next video, when I come on and I've survived all the crap that February has to feed me, I will be renewed. I will have a sense of purpose. Not that I don't have one now, but I'm just dreading the rest of this month. It's the 7th right now, and I don't like. So yeah, that's all. The Haunted Looking Glass Ghost Stories, chosen by Edward Gorey. Fun book. Just, you know, sometimes you got to get back to basics. You got to read those foundational works to kind of remind yourself where we come from and how far we've come. So I think, yeah, I'll try to get better with that. But I don't know. I didn't mean to read a bad book in the beginning of the month. I was actually super excited about it. It had been sitting in my TBR pile, like kind of on top, and I'd been looking forward to it, like, oh, and then I read it and was just like, oh no. Like, I hope it isn't a bad portend of what my year's gonna be like, because yikes. But no, Edward Gorey fixed it. Thank you, Edward Gorey. Do you guys ever, I live in Pennsylvania, right? And big vacations aren't something I like to take. I don't like to go too far from home, but I do want to go to Massachusetts someday. I want to go, of course, I want to go see Salem. I want to go to Danvers, and I want to go around, but, like my husband wants to go to Boston. I want to go to Boston too, but there are so many, like, creative residences of writers and artists that are in Massachusetts that I would love to go see. And the Edward Gorey house is actually, I think it's on Cape Cod. I think it's in Yarmouth Harbor. I think that's where it is. But I would love to go to the Edward Gorey house. I would love to go. I think Edith Wharton's house is in Massachusetts. It would take me 2 weeks to see everything in Massachusetts I want to see. So that's what I want to talk about. Have you gone and done any of these house tours or these escape, like with the creatives tours in Massachusetts? Have you seen any of those places? Have you like gone and looked at their houses? And I know in the Edward Gorey house, he did, I don't know if it was puppetry or marionettes, but there's like a stage in it of the marionettes or puppets that he made that they still have. I just think that would be so cool. Have you been there? Have you seen it? Tell me. So I'll see you guys next month in a better mood with something good to talk about, more good to talk about, because yes, Edward Gorey always makes a bad day better. So that's it. I will see you all in a few weeks. Bye.